Okay, y'all, you ready? We're going to be taking a look at a shortboard today that has a nice kicktail on it. This one comes from Enskate, and it's called the R3 Mini. Welcome to the Vapor Trail channel. I'm Tony, and yeah, today we're looking at a shortboard. I've had a couple of longboards on the channel, and I've shown you some unboxing of some shortboards. I've got a couple of them now. The Meepo Mini 2, that's a refurbished model, and I do plan to do a full video on that. More like not really to do a review on it because it's been reviewed to death, but well, I do want to show you what it's like to get a refurbished one and what my impressions of that are. But right now, we're looking at the R3 Mini. So what's the big difference between that and one of the longboards that I've shown you? Well, I mean, if you've ever ridden a skateboard, first of all, they probably look something like this. Yeah, this is an old school skateboard right here, and it's about the same size as the R3 Mini. And of course, the big thing you're going to notice is the kicktail that's on that. You see the kicktail on here? Important because if you get into tight situations, you get into a, I don't know, you're commuting, you're in the city, and you can't always have long carving turns, that kind of thing. One of these comes in handy because guess what? Boom! Hit that kicktail and you're good to go. Perfect for tight turns and things like that. And this one, the kicktail that's on this is very pronounced. It works really well. The concave on this, I don't know if you can really see that, but while you're looking at that, look how thin the actual board is overall. It's very nice, and the weight of this one is lighter than any of the other shortboards or mini e-skates that I have tried. It's nice and lightweight, super easy to carry, and it's kind of stealthy. You almost don't even realize that it's a electric skateboard. Now this board retails for $559, but they have it, marked at $489 on their website, Enskate's website. So a little under $500, which is in line with the other mini boards that are out there, electric skateboards. Max speed on this board is 22 miles per hour, and the max climbing grade is 25%. Most of them do 30%. 180 days warranty, and recommended for short distance city commute in university. Goes up to 22 miles an hour, and if you've ever ridden, I don't know, I've looked at my speedometer on some of the boards I've ridden, and it will tell you that you're riding at what, I don't know, I average around 12 miles per hour, 15 miles per hour, and that seems pretty fast to me. I'm not a big speed demon, so that part doesn't bother me, but I had my friend Alex out riding yesterday, and he was tearing it up, dude. I was like, I'm not going that fast. One thing that you'll notice with shorter boards like this is they seem to be pretty torquey. I don't know why. Mainly they have the same motors and internals as their larger siblings, so maybe that's why. But either way, you just don't have that much board to work with, and it does tend to be a little more torquey. So be careful when you get on that gas or even on the brakes, because those can be a little bit more jerky as well. On their website, they tell you that it makes turning easy and super portable. Inspired by skateboard and surfboard, the R3 Mini has 25mm wide concave and classic kicktail design. You can do ollies and airs under limited space and make turning easily. I don't know, I've seen people doing ollies and airs on a board like this, and that's not me. In fact, even when riding my old school boards, I still was never, a ollie and air kind of guy. The board is an 8-layer maple board to make it light as possible, and you can take it anywhere with ease. The R3 Mini can be taken on some airplanes thanks to the battery. That is definitely something you have to consider. If you're looking to travel with one of these and take this on a plane or something like that, well, you got to make sure that the airline allows it, because if it's going to go into the underside of the plane, it has to meet a certain spec for lithium-ion batteries. That's why it'd be nice if you could just take the battery off, take that with you, check the, I don't know, but you do want to make sure. This one seems to be a little bit more amenable to that though. So this is a dual hub motor. It's got two 450-watt ultra powerful hub motors. The R3 Mini can reach up to 20 miles per hour. It says, which is good for beginners and experienced riders. The FOC system makes rides stable and much less noise, and provides you the best control of acceleration and brake at high speed. It has IP54 to protect the drive system at environments with water, but it's not recommended to use the R3 Mini on water. The wheels that are on this are 78A 90mm 60mm PU wheels. The most wear-resistant wheels ever, it says. The test showed that the abrasion of our wheels is nearly 10 times less than normal PU wheels. Softer at 75A, high elastic PU wheel of 90mm, offers smooth and stable ride. You could easily get over 1 to 2 centimeter obstacles and pebbles on the road, smooth brake, and change direction. The battery that they use in this is a Samsung 10S 1P 36 volt lithium ion battery. And again, the range is only 12.5 miles. I say only because a lot of these boards are like 20 to 30 miles and all of that kind of stuff. But in this case, 12.5 miles for commuting. What I use this board for is going back and forth between my friend's place and mine, or, you know, a quick trip down to the store or something like that. Not for me anyways, not for a long ride, but this one is more comfortable than other minis that I've ridden. So comfort-wise, I'd be fine with taking this on a long-distance ride. The remote is where we get into an issue, and I'll get into that in just a minute. And like most electric skateboards, it does have regenerative braking, and just a warning on that, if you charge your board absolutely full, and then you go for a ride, and you start going downhill, well, you're gonna be using your brakes. Well, some people, well, I would be. If you're using your brakes, what's gonna happen is that it's charging your battery, and if the ESC, the brain of your board, realizes that the battery is full, you can have a malfunction. I haven't had it happen to me, but I've had people tell me that your brakes can just suddenly go on, or the board will just disconnect and not work with your remote all of a sudden. Whatever, you just want to make sure that you're aware of that. I will tell you this, the overall design of this board is really very nice. I mean, I was super pleased just seeing the images and looking at the website when they asked me if I would want to take a look at it, and I said, oh, definitely. The overall design is fantastic. I think that the concave that's on it is just enough to get my feet, well, it's actually more than just enough. It's really good for locking those feet in. That kicktail is super operable, so that's really nice. The wheels, they really are nice wheels. Yeah, I don't know. Sleeves on these hub motors, as you can see, it's got that cap on there. Well, a sleeve on a hub motor, they tend to chip and break and stuff after a while. These feel softer than most of the ones that I've had as far as the PU wheels go. And I'm hoping that that will mean that we have some more longevity out of these back sleeves that are on these. These are regular wheels that are up here. Seem to have like a polycarbonate core on them. The bearings, I don't know what kind of bearings they use or anything like that, because the specs that I've told you is the specs that they have on the website. The overall ride on this board is actually very nice. I can tell you some of the short boards that I've gotten on, when I get on them, I'm like, I don't know, this feels a little bit wonky, you know? For whatever reason, I feel locked in on this and I feel a lot more comfortable on it. Taking a look at some of the details under the board, often they have giant blocks underneath the board, and that makes for less clearance. Like if you're going over a speed bump or something like that, this board has a nice thin bottom to it, you know, all of its components and everything. Everything looks super, super clean. And you'll notice that I have no wheel bite on this board yet, and I've been carving away on this thing, so that's a good thing. The trucks are nice and wide. They seem very solid. They aren't double kingpin trucks, but they work really well. I'll notice that the front has different bushings than the back. I'm guessing maybe the back has harder bushings than the front, but either way, I'm happy with the bushings that are on it. Got your charging port right over here. You just unplug that and plug it in right there. It's a 3-prong plug, so make sure you have the correct one to charge it with. And then your power button is right next to that. This board does not have auto start, so you do have to push the button on it to get it started. That's not that big of a deal. And when they say inspired by a surfboard, yeah, that definitely has that surfboard, or even just old school board, like the penny boards, you know, it has that old school look to it. So I like that a lot. Overall, this is a very nice solid board. Let's talk about the one thing that I don't like about this board. And it's, I don't know, it's just a small thing, especially if you're using it like I am, just basically commuting and things like that. It's the remote. I am not a big fan of this remote. Even the Posway V4, let me show you a comparison between the two remotes. The Posway V4 actually has indicators on there for battery level, and it's easy to tell what gear you're in. Even if it doesn't have an LCD display, those LEDs on there do give you a little bit more details. And if you're traveling on this board and you're going a long distance, you don't really know. I don't, just basically has that one light. Let me show you that remote. Okay, I thought I'd take this inside so we could see the LEDs and everything a little bit more clear, and to give you a good indication of what I'm talking about with the differences in these. This is the Posway, so clearly you have a power button that turns on. It's connecting to the board, and it just did. And the board has like no battery right now. It's down to, it's almost at 1 bar. I think that bar right there is just dim. But it does also have an indicator for the remote itself. So if that starts flashing, then the remote battery is low. That flashing right there is telling you that it's connected to the board. It has a button for reverse, and then you've got low, medium, and high over here. It's really clearly marked, okay? So even without a LED display on here to tell me how many miles and how much battery and all that kind of stuff on it, it still has a lot of information. So when you look at this one, you've got a power button and a shift button. There's some lights over here and an indicator up there, and an indicator for your signal as well as your remote. So that is your remote indicator. But let's turn this thing on. Okay, so that green just told me that the remote is full. I don't know until that starts to blink at me and tell me that it's time to charge this. However, it is the same with this one and a lot of them like it. The other thing is this, and it's really important, is that let's turn this board on. Okay, when that turns on, you do get an indicator that it connected, so that's great. Okay, now that is connected. If we do this, it's going. But really, that light right there is the only indicator you're going to get unless this indicator starts to blink or if you change the gears. And you'll see when I change the gears, these 4 lights right here, which could be indicators as to what gear you're in or battery level. I mean, either way. But when you hit that, we're going to change gears, and there are 3 gears on here, so that went kind of slow. Okay, so we're going to hit that gear shift again. That a little bit faster. And then if I hit the gear shift again, it goes really slow. Okay, so that's the slowest one. The next one. And the next one. But, you know, I mean, it's fine. I mean, you can tell that you shifted gears, and you might be able to tell by the rapidness of those lights there, but wouldn't you just want to have 1 light for first, 1 light, or 2 lights for second, and 3 lights for, I don't know. Something would make this a little bit better if they would just give it more information. And what I was saying is that if you're on a long-term trip, if you're, you know, going a long distance, you can't really rely, I don't really know what my battery level is. Whereas if I look at this one, I always know at least pretty much what my battery level is. That's all, just something simple like that. So the gist for this remote is you do have backwards and forwards by clicking that switch right there, of course, accelerator, brake. You can shift gears, and yeah, I mean, it's a basic remote. I would really like to see them have a better remote for this, but that is really my only complaint with this board, and it might be a biggie for some people, but for my use in small commutes and stuff like that, I just make sure the board is charged and make sure I know, you know, what state I'm in. Not geographically, but you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, my verdict on it is if you like short boards, you want something that has that versatility of the Kicktail, nice and small, super lightweight, that remote, if it doesn't bother you, well, this might be the board for you. This is a nice board. And I want to thank Enskate for sending it over so I could share it with you. I got a bunch more stuff coming to the channel with Emobility. I've got other skateboards. I've also got the Super 73 Z1, which is a motorbike. It's almost like a moped, this thing. I got that one for my wife. And then I have the Super 73 ZX coming for me. That should be here within the next couple of weeks. So pretty excited about that. I've just really fallen in love with Emobility, and I have a lot of passion for it, so I want to share it with you. So I do appreciate your support here on the channel. Likes, comments, shares, subscriptions are always very important to my channel. So if you like what you see, hit that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, there's a red subscribe button down there and a notification bell. If you click both of those, you'll get notifications when I upload new videos. If you think you're subscribed to the channel, just take a look every once in a while. If the button's red, you're not subscribed anymore, so I'd appreciate it if you click it again. Do check out the links down there for Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and Instagram. If you have one of those, I'd appreciate a follow. And thank you again for your support. It's very humbling to me, and I do appreciate it. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. We'll catch you next time on the Vapor Trail channel.